Hi guys, welcome to Shifting Conversations podcast, where we discuss topics relating to young Christians, current day topics from a Christian perspective, and learn and grow in our faith. We hope you enjoy today's episode.
Okay, welcome to another episode of Shifting Conversations podcast. We are back. We are back to address the important, the meaty, the touchy topics of today. And we've got the team here with us to address an interesting question. It's a question that I think makes a lot of Christians and believers quite uncomfortable, and sometimes we would rather brush it to the side than actually think about it or address it. And the question is simply this: why is it that Christians are less likely to defend their faith when their beliefs are attacked compared to other belief systems or other faiths? Why is it that we're less likely to defend our faith, especially in public spaces? So we want to get straight into it. First of all, do you guys believe that Christianity is the most attacked belief or faith in Western culture?
100%.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. So, William speaking. I don't want to go out on a limb and say it's the most attacked, but at least for what I see, it is in my reality. And so the exposure that I have, the social media platforms I use, the news outlets I read, it definitely is for a number of reasons. There's obviously an attitude and opinion attached to Christianity across certain areas. So you've got almost, if we even go like down the race lines, you've got kind of white Christianity, black Christianity, and the stigmas that come attached with those, which I guess leads to the wider point of the different elements of Christianity that we actually see. And so to answer your question, I think some areas of Christianity are probably attacked more so than other areas. And probably that elevates the whole religion as a whole. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with William as well because, like, I mean, there are some other religions that are scrutinized because certain individuals in that religion decide to do certain things. So people think, oh, that's all that religion is about. But I will say overall, Christianity is very much scrutinized. And yeah, it is definitely.
It's Ines here. I don't know if I 100% agree with my mom, William. Like, obviously, in the sense that we know that there are certain aspects, like within Christianity, where obviously, like, there's a lot of scrutiny. But I think religions like Islam, which has like a lot of like negative like stigmas attached to it, and I feel like I have quite a few Muslim friends who feel like it's hard for them to even practice their faith just purely because of like what other people think, because of like what they believe in. Because like you have negative stigmas like things that happen like with like the terrorism, the terrorist attacks,
Yeah.
all of that, etc., etc. And like I literally remember like walking down a road and like some white guy shouting at some Muslim guy, calling him a terrorist, because he was in like his formal like traditional wear, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Like as a Christian, like you can just walk down the street and nobody's gonna shout at you for being a Christian. Do you see what I mean? So like
Yeah.
I feel like where the scrutiny lies is like we see in the media like how much Christianity has an effect like on the secular world, but like in reality and real life, I feel like people like Muslim people and people who follow like the religion of Islam, like are under much like as a whole are under much more scrutiny than Christian people.
That's right.
Yeah, that's interesting. You know what I would say? I think different beliefs experience different types of attack and different types of scrutiny.
Yeah.
I think with Christianity, there's less should I say, extreme forms of Christianity compared to like a radical Islamist or jihadist or whatever you would use to call that. So in terms of the types of scrutiny or attacks against Christianity, it's not the same as the type of attacks in that sense, because um, that kind of radicalism isn't necessarily seen in Christianity. But so I guess the what is associated with each faith determines the type of attack or type of belief. But what I would also say is, compared to other beliefs, say not necessarily faith beliefs, but say maybe environmentalism or beliefs about gender or social equality and so on and so forth, a lot of those type of beliefs go pretty much unscrutinized or unchecked. In certain spaces, let me say, in certain spaces they are scrutinized, but in the mainstream, I would say not as much as Christianity. So it is, I guess, there is no one way to answer it. There is no one opinion on it, but I think we can all agree Christianity does get attacked.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think to add to that, I think there is a thing of with Christianity in particular, the right hand doesn't really know what the left hand's doing. And when I say that, what I mean by that is, I remember, so a few years ago, I'm sure, or at least probably in the recent news, but a thing about kind of I think female deacons maybe, kind of the role of women in the church, stuff like that. For me personally, as a Christian, I'd say I've got no issue if there's a female deacon, or I've got a female pastor or preacher or spiritual leader, wherever it might be. But of course, maybe in another kind of sect of Christianity, that is much more of an issue for them, and it becomes topic of national debate, and it becomes also the what people view as the position for all forms of Christianity, because the more popular areas obviously get traction, and so when they hold viewpoints and opinions on certain matters, so i.e. the Pope's opinion on an issue is going to hold more weight than maybe my opinion on an issue, though we might both refer to ourselves as Christians.
I think that probably moves us into the second part that I guess we need to address, because it seems like in the Western world, at least, the lack of uniformity about how Christianity is practiced and the way it is expressed has kind of contributed to the ease at which non-Christians can attack or scrutinize Christianity. For example, my belief on maybe women in the church, as William used as an example, might be completely different to maybe someone who is Methodist or Baptist, but because we are all under the umbrella of Christianity, I may have to find myself defending someone attacking Christianity because of a certain group's belief of what should happen. And so now it's not like you're only defending your version of Christianity. You have to defend all the versions of Christianity because they're all getting lumped together. So how do you guys feel about that?
Well, I was going to ask a question actually, and I'm glad you said that. So I guess, do you guys feel you have to defend that position even if it's contrary to your own, if that makes sense? So you're a Christian, but obviously you're a Pentecostal Christian, so a Protestant Christian, and there's views and behaviors of other sects of Christianity, to not put too much light on. But there's views on other sects of Christianity that you might not necessarily agree upon, right? Principally, that's just not for you. So it's almost that kind of, to an extent, I guess the question was about whether Christianity gets a lot of scrutiny and we don't defend it, but then are we also perpetrators of that, in the sense that we don't defend it too? So
I think
go on.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, to answer your first question, I don't feel like I have to defend anybody's view, as you've already said.
Yeah.
Um, as a Pentecostal Christian, I'm definitely not gonna have the same views as a Catholic Christian on women in the church. Um, so I don't feel like I have to defend certain views.
Yeah.
If I can defend it, I will. But there's some certain things where it's like, why don't you want women in the church doing, preaching and teaching? Like, with that, I have nothing to say. I don't have any argument to support that view. So when I can, I will, and when I can't, I won't.
But I guess the problem is this, right? Every type of Christian there is out there believes they can point to where in the Bible they get the support for the view that they hold.
Yep.
Right?
Mm,
So it's not like they're just pulling this stuff out of thin air. They
Yeah.
believe they have a biblical support for what they believe.
Yeah.
And you're all Christians, so you all say you hold to the Bible. So
yeah.
you all have to you all have to hold
No,
that.
it's true.
The Bible's going through a lot.
It's
The
a
Bible is
very,
going through a lot.
I think it's a very, very, very controversial topic in the sense that, like who do we have to defend? Who should we come and be buddy butt with? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like back to relation into like what William was saying, like do you feel like you're obligated to, like, if someone who wants to come and question your Christianity belief, do you feel obligated to be defending everybody? For me, the person the answer is no. I don't have to. Like, I'm so sorry, but it's like, but at the same time, the reason why I say it's controversial, because in the Bible, it's like Christianity. I don't think Christianity is like okay, I've lost my train of thought. In the Bible, it says when describing the church, right? It describes us all as one body, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that
Yeah.
so as one body, in the sense that you have a function for you have a function for a leg.
Yeah.
We all have to move together into one unit. Hence why some people feel obligated to be defending a Protestant this or a Catholic this, even though that you yourself, you're not even within those like
Yeah.
what's it?
You don't follow that.
Tattoos.
Yeah, even though that you're not even like followers of that specific like
Right.
background of Christianity, for example.
Yeah.
But with me, I know that all I know is my faith. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And obviously my faith obviously comes from like reading the word. That's how our faith grows. And I feel like where it's a bit of a struggle is because we all interpret the Bible differently.
Yeah.
That's why there's so much like different is it called denominations, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why there's like so many. That's why there's so many different denominations, and like that like specific subject or topic is a whole entire discussion in itself. Like I just don't even get it.
Yeah,
Because
there's a lot of history that goes into why we've ended up in this space
Yeah.
with so many different
yeah.
denominations and so on and so forth, and so many expressions. I like to say expressions of Christian belief.
Yeah.
But I guess so. For example, if we compare, I think also another issue we need to sort of look at is the familiarity that people in the Western world have with Christianity compared to other beliefs, and whether that level of familiarity is another factor that opens Christianity up to maybe more scrutiny than other beliefs. Because, for example, most people I know couldn't tell you half of what someone who is Sikh believes, or even someone who is Muslim or Jewish. They would struggle to tell you what they believe. Whereas because Christianity, in one way, shape, or form, has been the bedrock of the development of Western society and the Western world that we find ourselves in, I think a lot of people feel like they're familiar with it and they can tell you what you believe, even though you may not necessarily believe it.
And it's like, hold up, do you actually know like what you're talking about? Or are you just going off, what the media says about the church? Because you could say, for example, how, I would say back in the day, but who knows, it could still be going on. But a lot of people say how in the Catholic Church, you know, there have been stories of priests and bishops that have abused, like sexually
That's
abused
still
children.
going on today. It's not even back in the
And
day.
yeah, that's why I wasn't sure which,
Okay.
but it's like people will use that as a point to say, oh, if that's the case, then Christianity is not proper, and they will say that's why I'm gonna scrutinize Christianity. But then it's like, at the same time, of course, that's, we know it's happened, it's a fact. But also it's kind of connected to the Catholic Church, which I don't know if that's necessarily right, because I know in Protestant churches as well, there have also been instances where leaders, church leaders have, you know, abused children and stuff like that. So I think the different dominations is another issue for another day. But also, again, because Christianity has been the bedrock of society for a very long time, people feel like, yeah, I know what Christianity is about, but maybe they only really know
an element of
what
it.
Christianity is about in the media. They
But-
haven't actually seen, you know, what it's actually about in the Bible, which, of course, we know the Bible is the ultimate, you know, source that we need to really go to, because humans are always gonna, you know, have a way of kind of, what's the word,
Messing
kind of
things up
twist,
and being
yeah, just
humans.
messing it up completely. So yeah.
Yeah,
for
William,
me,
you were gonna say something.
yeah, I was gonna say, for me, I kind of like, my viewpoint has always been, it's every man for himself. So,
It makes sense.
Every man for himself.
yeah, so
Wow.
honestly, so Baptist, Seventh Day Adventist, all the different denominations you want to mention, like, it's every man for themselves. So, what kind of, it's not a right hand, left hand even kind of situation. It might even be a bit further than that, because there's, I can only defend the things that I know and I believe. And so it's those minute differences between the different denominations that obviously make them what they are. And for that, if they want to hold smoke for certain behaviors they haven't done, pulled out, or cut out, then so be it. If there's an issue that arises to and relates to, like, Pentecostal Christians, for example, then I would be a lot more comfortable maybe jumping out to speak on it, because I'd feel like I know a bit more about it, but two, also it's a reflection or representation of what I believe in, right? So that's where it stands for me to say X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
I also believe, like, just hopping off of, like, Jemima's point, about like this whole entire thing with, like, Catholic priests, like, just protruding, like, that sort of behavior. Like, I feel like with Christianity, and like how it's perceived as a whole, like, it's very, very, very much in the media when it comes, like, to the Western world. Like, I feel like everybody gets their information from Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, etc., about this Catholic priest did that, or this church did that and that. Like, even things like SPAC Nation, and like all the
Let's not go there. Let's not go there.
All the crazy things that's been going on in SPAC Nation, and like how this depict, like it's like, wow, these are the two things that we have to depict Christianity. Like, really, can we not, like, do any better? Like, I feel like it's also, like, because of how much people are exposed to it, and I feel like the amount of exposure, not even the amount, but the kind of exposure that non-Christians are exposed to about Christianity, I feel like there's always been a negative stigma attached to it. And so that's why I feel like a lot of people are always getting, like, the wrong idea about Christianity. And then that's like, then it's going to be hard to defend, because it's like, you're not going to stand there and defend a pedophile, or you're not going to stand there and defend a rapist, because nobody in their right mind would do that, because it's just, like, it's morally wrong. But it's because how, like, within, like, our Western society and how everyone's using social media, and how, like, the church is now being depicted and how Christianity is now being depicted, is like a majority of it is all of the wrong things. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's also.
Yeah. So I think maybe we need to scrap. Maybe we need to scrap all of these denominations. Number one. Number two. Maybe in the 21st century, the title Christian is redundant.
Yeah.
Maybe we need to find a new
That's
way
another
of
thing.
Yeah.
labeling ourselves and presenting ourselves to the world. I think for a time the church has been, as I've said before, the bedrock of Western society, being at the forefront of schools, at the forefront of hospitals, even politics, bishops being in the House of Lords, etc. Um, uh, and the church is no longer holds that position in society, and there's no longer such a uniformed approach to how the church or Christianity expresses itself to and in the world. And I think that has to be acknowledged now. We do live in a secular society, and it's not that label of Christian is probably more unhelpful than helpful at this point in time, because it's so loaded with so many assumptions and presuppositions about what that label means and contains and holds.
It's like to interrupt. So it's like, the use of like the word black in like identity politics, right?
Yeah.
Black is obviously a skin tone, skin color, whatever, but then black is also used to describe every black person, and it's like, well, something the experiences of me as a black person from Ghana is wildly different to the experiences of a black person from like Haiti or even across the African continent. Our neighbors, Togo and Ivory Coast. But it's like, oh, you're black, so yeah,
yeah, you're all under the same umbrella. Yeah, no, that's a good point.
You're black, so you get what he's feeling, but it's not. You know what I'm saying? It's not like that at all.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
And also,
go on.
like, I know there's a rise of this idea that there's Christians that actually don't call themselves Christians now because of that. All the assumptions that are assumptioning with the word Christianity. And so now they actually just say, I'm a follower of Christ. They'll rather identify themselves as that than identify themselves as a Christian. And I think also that word Christian, sometimes it almost equates to, instead of I'm a follower of Christ, it's like I'm a follower of the church, like, and I just do church, like I'm just a church goer.
Listen, that's a topic for another day. That's a topic for another day. But no, you're making a good point. I have come across more and more people now that will refrain from using the title Christian for themselves, and they will find another way of expressing that, yes, I'm a follower of Christ, or I believe in Christ. My faith is in Christ. So lastly, I want us to basically address, what do we feel like Christians today are well equipped? Not necessarily are they well equipped, but do Christians feel equipped enough to defend their beliefs when their beliefs are attacked? Because I know for me personally, not everybody listening may have used the Clubhouse app, but it's basically a place where people can discuss anything, right? From the most relaxed topic to the most controversial topics, and you get an audience to discuss it. And I've been in a lot of rooms where Christianity is absolutely getting battered.
Just tossed all around the place.
It's getting battered, right? And what I've noticed, and maybe this is just me and what I have accessibility to, but it's always the same one or two people that defend Christianity. Whereas I can go into various rooms and various people, different people, will be defending different types, other belief systems, should I say. And it's like, wow, they have so many people that feel brave enough and equipped enough to represent this belief that they hold on to. But when it comes to Christians, it seems like very, very few of us actually feel prepared or willing to defend our beliefs, especially in public spaces. But what do you guys think?
Can I
Yeah, go for
honestly?
it. Go for it.
I think okay. So I've gone to a Jewish school, isn't it?
Yeah.
So obviously, when it comes to like having to defend Christianity, is always kind of been a tough thing, because even though that like I always had like a group of friends, yeah, and the majority of us were Christian, but the thing is, some people need to understand, yeah, is that just when some people say that they're Christian because their parents are Christian, and then that's it. Do you know what I mean? And it's like oh, they don't go to church, they don't read the Bible, they don't pray to God, they don't do anything. They just say they're Christian because their mum goes to church and that their dad is also Christian, because their parents are Christian, their family is Christian. So automatically I'm Christian, and then that's it. Do you know what I mean? And so they've never really put themselves into the position or even prepared themselves to actually come and defend their faith. And what I see even at university now is that let's even imagine like a group of like a 5 of us, yeah, all Christians, only 2 of us, if we were to like ever be like confronted, we'll be able to like proper like defend Christianity.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's such a common trait, like most of the time. We'll say that we're Christians,
Yeah.
but it's like only some of us are actually diving deep into the word because we want to know Christ for ourselves. Whereas others are they're just using the word Christian because they just believe, okay, that's just my religion. That's it. They see it as a religion. They don't even see it as like having something to have or put their complete and utter faith into. Do you know what I mean?
Can I add something to that? Yeah. So I think the challenge is Christianity needs to find a way to kind of become, let's say, modern without losing essence, and very fine balance. I think from people I know, people what I see, the people believe the kind of pillars of it are quite old-fashioned and have no kind of place in kind of the current day, current age, and so the difficulty in defending it is that there's obviously holes where what it used to stand for and what it used to mean maybe some millenniums ago isn't quite reflective of the times that we live in now. So, there's been, society, even from what it was 20 years ago, is massively different, let alone like 2000, 3000, whatever, how many years ago. And so it's like, how does it get up to speed with what's going on? It's been pulled apart in so many different ways. We're trying to tackle that issue, this and that, but we're still trying to kind of keep the same shape that we have, right? We don't want to change what we are, but we want to expand it to try and to cover everything and everyone. And I guess how far can it be pulled before it actually has to change its shape?
Yeah, I think. Do you know what? That's a really good point, William. The world has changed significantly, and in fact, the world, as you were saying, Christianity needs to find a way to maintain its uniqueness and its essence, but still be relevant in this completely new world. To be honest, if we take the grand scheme of history, we're now living in a secular age in Western society, at least. Never in history has there been a secular society. So this is a completely new ball game, right? And I think one of the biggest problems right now for Christianity in being relevant and being defendable in this modern age is a lot of Christians now see Christianity as a super personal thing. So if you ask them what is the benefits of being a Christian for them personally, they can tell you, it brings me peace, blah, blah, blah. They can tell you all the great things for themselves. But then once you ask them, what is the benefit of Christianity for society as a whole?
Then it becomes a challenge.
It's scary silent.
Ain't no back talk.
I get that, man. It's hard. It's hard though, because it's hard not to fall like afoul of the line. The line that we're all towing. None of us are currently making our bread off of the church. So we've got, we've all got personal responsibilities alongside
Yeah.
spiritual responsibilities, and there's times where you might want to engage in something, right? But then you're aware that, okay, so let me actually pull back and maybe tone down how I'm gonna address this topic or subject. And it's with that, as long as you've got the flack for that, it's let's put it like this: a person that or celebrities, for example, right? Celebrities and people from wealth, etc., to an extent, can say and do what they like because they know that there is a safety
There's a
net.
safety net, of their wealth, and
Yeah. So as you said, we're in a secular world, so those are the things that kind of drive the world. That's how the world spins. Whereas maybe a religious person, even let's say an ultra religious person, if they express or say certain viewpoints without it being misconstrued, all of that, there is no safety net. You're done. Then you become the preacher that you see on the corner of the road somewhere, doing whatever you want to say. But it's difficult because it's difficult.
Yeah, it's not easy. It's not like, hey, just stand up for your faith, defend your faith whenever you can. It's not that simple. Like, we live in a real world. There's real issues to address. There's real threats to our livelihood in certain situations that you can't force people to just not be aware of or not be conscious of. It's going to be on people's minds. But I think what we need to do in Christendom, or whatever you want to call it, is we need to better prepare people to find a way of defending their faith in a way that the benefits of Christianity to society far outweigh any negatives that people have associated with the faith. And I don't think it's enough for us to be like, oh, it's my personal faith, Yeah, that's nice and that's good. And, your personal faith is the foundation of your faith. But I think more of us Christians need to look at our faith as something that also has to be society molding and changing and society relevant. And that isn't happening enough. We're going to end it there. I think that's been a really great discussion. Once again, shifting conversations. This is the type of conversations we have.
Yes, guys. The meats.
Yeah. So thank you guys. If you're watching this on YouTube, then subscribe, like, and all that stuff. If you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple, or wherever you listen to your podcast, subscribe to us there as well. If you've listened to this conversation, you want to comment on Twitter, then use the hashtag shifting conversations. And our Twitter is shift_HY. And if you're seeing this on IG, leave a comment. Let us know as well what you want us to discuss. We want your ideas. We want your comments. We want you to get to interact with us. And we want to feel the temperature out there. Yeah, we don't want to feel like we're talking to ourselves. So once again, thank you for listening
English
to Shifted Conversations.